Hello, guys. Welcome to your hurricane report for Wednesday, September 12th, 2018. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the charts to take a look at this hurricane. This is from the National Hurricane Center right here. It's Hurricane Florence discussion. And what we're going to take a look at here that's really important to us is down here, the forecast positions and max winds. We're looking at this section down in here. And what we want to notice is this hurricane remains extremely strong through 24 hours from now. Let me bring the charts down a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. Through 24 hours from now, it remains at 145 miles per hour, which is extremely strong. But then we notice that what happens is a weakening starts to occur, according to the National Hurricane Center. By 36 hours, we're down to 140. And then we get a significant drop 48 hours from now, down to 120 as it starts to near the coast. But the forward speed of the storm is going to slow down, so it's still going to be nearing the coast at 72 hours. And if what you notice here is 72 hours, we get another drop 20 miles an hour in wind speed. And it's bringing it down to 100 miles an hour. So we're going to move from a 140 mile an hour storm from 36 hours from now down to a 100 mile an hour storm. That's a 40 mile an hour drop in wind speed by the 72 hour period, and it's still not going to have made landfall. It'll be near the coast, if you notice here. It does make landfall at 96 hours, and if you notice here, they got 50 mile an hour wind speed by the time it's made significant landfall at 96 hours. So it will have moved inland by this time, and they're expecting the interaction with land to basically downgrade the hurricane to a 50 mile an hour storm. Why this is all important is these are significant drops in the wind speed from 140 down to 120 as it nears the coast. And even when it's still out over open water, they're predicting 100 mile an hour wind speed as it makes its final approach to the coast. So winds from this storm, that's a significant drop. We're looking at 100 mile an hour winds. We're not looking at the significant damage we would have at 145 mile an hour winds, which is what the storm's going to be 24 hours from now. It'll be at 145 miles an hour. So we're looking at a significant drop between 24 hours and 72 hours, which is 100 miles an hour. This doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods, but it just means that we're going to probably catch a little bit of a break in the wind speed. That doesn't mean we might not get significant flooding. Now, let's take a look at the charts here and take a look at where the hurricane is at this point in time and just how strong it is. Let's open the charts up a little bit more here so we can see. What we're looking at is current information is the center is at 29.4 degrees north, 70.7 degrees west. The sustained winds are 130 miles an hour. Now, a couple things I notice about this storm is this orange area in here is a hurricane force winds. Whoops. Excuse me. I got on the wrong thing here. Here we go. Okay, so the orange circle is the hurricane force winds. The yellow circle is the tropical storm force winds. This thing has a very large hurricane force wind field. Very, very large indeed. Now, it's going to grow when it moves from this position today over to these positions in the next 24 hours. It's going to grow significantly stronger. It's going to go up to 145 miles an hour. So it's going to get stronger before it weakens. If we focus the camera in right here and take a look, I will show you the positions it's going to be in when it decides to when it decides to weaken is these the 2 p.m. Thursday. See that position just off the coast of North Carolina? It's going to start weakening. And 2 a.m. Friday and 2 a.m. Saturday. So by 2 a.m. Saturday, it's going to be 100 mile an hour roughly, just before it makes landfall, according to the National Hurricane Center. And then it's going to move inland. So let's take a look at where this thing's well, first let's take another couple looks at the hurricane itself. Let's expand the charts here for a second. And let's go down here and take a look at the pictures of the hurricane itself. Classic, well-defined storm. I mean, it just looks like any other tremendously powerful hurricane. That's a really well-defined. It's got a rather large eye, though. That's one thing I do notice about. Anyway, that's a classic hurricane right there. I've seen a lot of other hurricanes that have that classic formation. Okay, so let's take a look here, and we can see the weakening on this chart right here from a 4 to a 3 to a 2, just before it makes landfall at 2. So it's going to weaken from a 4 to a 2 in wind speed. That does not mean it's going to weaken in the amount of rain that's going to dump and storm surge. So listen to the people when they tell you to evacuate. Don't be, if you're in an area that needs to be evacuated and authorities tell you to evacuate, you should listen to them even though the storm is weakened off a little bit. That doesn't mean it's not a dangerous storm. Here shows the computer modeling, and it looks like the computer models are pretty much in consensus. The National Hurricane Center is in the center of the computer modeling, so that everything looks good there as far as the computer models being on track to where this storm is going to go. Now let's take a look at the map here, and we're going to expand the map out a little bit right here, and we're going to see where this is coming in and the strengths it's going to have. Now it looks to me like it's coming in right around Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach perhaps, or Myrtle Beach, in around this area, or Ocean Island Beach, or perhaps Oak Island, along in there, maybe as far north as Wilmington. It's probably going to make landfall somewhere in there. Most likely somewhere around Myrtle Beach, possibly, is where it's headed. At any rate, Wilmington is probably going to feel some good winds off of this thing anyway, and it's going to move inland. And the hurricane force winds is probably not going to make it in too much further than 50 miles or so from the coast. So if you're in as far down as let's see, what cities would be further in? Say you're in Florence. It's going to be you might not see you might not see too much hurricane force winds as far inland as that. But now there's also another danger you have to consider. Depending on what time of day it moves in, these storms carry tornadoes with them. So there's that also to consider. So listen, this has been your report on this hurricane. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next show. Bye-bye, guys.